Captain's log, stardate, in a galaxy far, far away. I'm trekking for the war of sci-fi. Two of the biggest franchises. Now, of course, Star Trek came first. It was a hit TV series. Classic. Absolute classic. So classic that Klingons had their own language officially registered. You can learn it. There's books, there's courses, and people have even had Klingon weddings with the Klingon language used. And yeah, Trekkies, they've basically taken over conventions, gotten William Shatner to say quotes, got heaps of photos, and of course the late great Leonard Nimoy, he attended some cons, and he and Shatner were sort of rivals. Like, they did make little amends here and there, but they were seeing rivals, but they worked great together on screen, both TV and cinema. And of course, Star Wars came about and blew everyone away. And Star Trek answered with their movie. Wasn't a huge hit. It did alright, but The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, they did better. Then the others, nah. We had more TV shows. We had The Next Generation and other Star Trek series. Of course, Star Wars, we had The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, Return of the Jedi, 1983, the Horrid Holiday Special, a few cartoon series like The Clone Wars, Droids. Then the 90s, there were Star Trek movies in the 90s, but mainly in the 2000s. We got the Star Wars prequels, then we got the Disney sequels, and then we got J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboot trilogy, which is pretty damn cool. Like, probably the best Star Trek films next to the original Star Trek movie, Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock. Of course, we know the great Star Wars trilogy is the original. So what do these have in common? Well, they're set in space. They got robot friends, enemies. They got alien friends and enemies. You got the main ships. You got the Millennium Falcon. You got the Enterprise. Yeah, you got the Enterprise 2. And you got, X-Wings, Y-Wings, TIE Fighters, Star Destroyers, Star Cruisers or Imperial Cruisers, the Death Star 2. You got that crazy, weird, big, whatever thing in Star Trek. I know a bit of Star Trek, but not as much as I do with Star Wars. So I'll have all the right information here of anything I missed. You got the laser guns and blasters. There was somewhat of a lightsaber in Star Trek. It was more like a pole. And it had I think one of it shot lasers, or it was something. But it wasn't as good or legendary as the lightsaber. You got the the really tall, good Klingon guy, equivalent to Chewbacca, basically. So space battles, conference meetings. Each character's got their iconic uniforms, distant planets. I don't think there was any slave girls in Star Trek. Probably was in some of the original episodes. And, Star Trek girls were basically Bond girls. And, Star Wars girls like that. So, yes, I'm going to do Bond versus Mission Impossible. That's on the way. But today's about those wars and treks in space. And I did mention the special feature with Stargate. What does it have in common? Star. It's got alien, enemies and friends. It's got a crew of people, military grade. Yeah, Star Wars, they've got their badges and everything, so all three have to do with the military. You got many ships in Stargate. You had Ra's big pyramid, which not as big as the Death Star and not as big as the Star Trek thing, but still there. Has its language, yes, it's ancient Egyptian. It's not creatively created like Klingon, and it's not like all the Star Wars jitter jatter or whatever it's called. There's great music in all three series. Hey, sides of the pyramid. So it does come full circle. Well, triangle. And yeah, so a few battles in space, distant planets, robot friends, allies, enemies. So yeah, these three franchises are awesome. Like Stargate started with a movie and then long-running series and then spin-offs. Star Trek started with a TV series, movies, and then other spin-offs. Star Wars, movies, and then spin-offs and other TV series. Some cast members of the original stuff ended up in the new stuff. Cameos, like, it didn't really happen in Stargate much. Like, only Rexy Cruz, he returned, and a girl who was originally Shari, she came in, but Kurt Russell, James Spader, no. But yeah, they're the similarities. What's the best one? Well, I like Star Trek. It's legendary. It's fun. Great effects for the time. Memorable. The whole battle. We must fight or they'll kill us. The whole da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which was parodied in The Cable Guy. Family Guy did it. Simpsons did it. Little scene in Return of the Jedi. Tiny little fight with a staff and that. Stargate, well, they had staff, so there you go. And many characters wear masks. You got the Egyptian gods. In Stargate, you got Darth Vader, Boba Fett, and Stormtroopers. I'm losing it. And yeah, the assassins and whoever they called in Star Trek. So there you go. 3 points. Call it Orion's Belt. And I guess I'll scare you later.